We used to have 5 big white oaks out here. We got 1 left. Originally, it was 288 acres, the original farm. And since I've been here, I've added up to 500 total. We've gone from a dairy cattle situation to raising peanuts and hogs. And right now we raise hay and we have a few beef cattle. My grandmother had a list of everything that was done on the farm. That's when all the children were here. They worked in the fields and so forth. And then Wallace decided to go to Surrey, and that's when they got started with the ham business in 1923. And the other brother went to sea, and he came back here and started farming also. We had a milking dairy that milked about 40 Jerseys. We got a special price for the milk because it was high in butterfat. We had big milk cans, and then every morning my father would take out 5 or 6 cans. That's the way we sold the milk for a while. And then we finally were able to put in a tank, and the truck would back up every day and pump it out. Was I good at milking? Well, I guess so. My father was. He had big hands. And of course, at one time, we milked everything by hand.
What are these?
The numbers that we had on the cows, and they had to wear a chain to put those around the neck. When we had the dairy, we had calves, baby calves, and that was my job, was to feed the baby calves. I bought a 4-H cow up in Orange, Virginia, and they had some really pretty cows up there. And I raised this calf, and I wanted to show it in a show, and the only show I could find was in Franklin. The folks said, well, you can come show it, but you're not supposed to, because all we have here now are Guernseys, and you have a Jersey. I said, well, let's see what happens. So on the way up there, my mother was driving the truck and had a flat tire. So we had to unload a cab. I wanted to go to Virginia Tech, and my principal said, Ryland, you'll never get in, but I did. In my junior year at Virginia Tech, I was in biology, and we had a lecture by 2 veterinarians. I said, well, that really sounds interesting. So I was able to apply to veterinary school. Now, we didn't have a veterinary school in Virginia until the early 1980s. So I had to go to the University of Georgia. I went to Tampa, Florida, and worked for a veterinarian there, and really enjoyed the practice. And all of a sudden, the draft board up here said, you have to go into service. So I went in the Air Force, finally became a captain, and I went to Omaha, Nebraska. That used to be what they call SAC headquarters. My wife went with me, and she became the microbiologist at the hospital, and then came back to Virginia. My mother said, Ryland, don't come yet. We already got a veterinarian here. That's what the bank told me. I said, I'm not going to lend you any money because we got enough veterinarians in the area. So I had to borrow money from Marian's father. I was building the practice at that time up on the highway on Route 10. I worked by myself for 17 years. Gus Barlow had some problems with some calves. I said, Gus, I think if you let me treat these calves with some injectable iodine, I think it'll get better, and they did.
They had pigs on that property.
Well, that was a big part of my practice was swine. During that time, a lot of people had 20 to 50 sows, so I went up and treated the pigs. The plants in Smithfield opened their own farms. They had about 20 farms in the area, not just Isle of Wight, but Surrey and so forth. And I went to them some, but then they hired their own veterinarian, so I didn't do much work with them after that. My practice became more equine horses as I got along older. I did several cesareans on cattle, I did one over near Suffolk, and it was snowing, and I was in the barn, of course, but I did the C-section there in the barn. And the poor cow, I didn't have a fence for it, so it just kind of wandered around. And it went to the livestock market twice.
So it went on its own?
Decided to go for a walk. I really enjoyed it. I enjoy this house and property.